champion quickly goes through. Let's go as well.
I'd like to introduce to you an individual who has inspired me and many others with their resiliency, openness, and honesty. She's an incredible athlete who experienced one of the toughest hurdles life could throw at her. Adapting and facing adversity isn't easy, but her story is very, very powerful. Without giving anything away, I'd like you to hear the story from the athlete firsthand. So without further ado, please give a very warm, honest athlete podcast welcome to Francesca Butler.
Thanks so much for having me on here. Such a lovely intro.
I always say, Hannah always does great intros, and then I always say to our guests, you should put that on LinkedIn. Just put it in your LinkedIn bio.
That's an amazing intro. Thank you.
I mean, let's get started because this is a fantastic story that lots of people can learn from and get inspiration from. But I always like to start with our athletes when we're talking to them about their start in sport and in life, and just a little bit about them really growing up. So if you could just take that away, Frankie, that would be
well, I'm very lucky. I've grown up very near National Sports Centre, so I've been able to see amazing athletes firsthand from literally the age of 4. My dad actually took me down to one of those sort of exhibition hockey games where like GB were playing a men's hockey team locally. And I was tiny, like looking through like the wire fencing, like literally sticking my nose through, just watching in awe these players. As I just loved the tenacity of them. They get tackled, they run back and get the ball. And when you're that young, you don't understand the rules, but you can really grasp the feeling of the people on the pitch, or with any sport, that feeling like, oh, they've worked hard to get there, and you don't quite know what that concept is. But when you're younger, you get the same feeling. And I was desperate to be part of it. So literally from the age of 4, I was like, right, I want to go play hockey. And you had to be 6 to be allowed to go and do it. So I would just go and watch like on the side of the pitch with a stick that was way too big for me, just like, oh, I want to play, I want to join in. And so I started playing hockey from a very young age, age of 4, mucking about in the garden, smashing plant pots. And then age of 6, actually training with a local team at Marlow Hockey Club, who've been amazing. And I did everything. I did touch rugby. I was a sprinter, and I continued that throughout my career in sport. Cross country, fell running, anything, you name it, I tried it out. I even tried football, which didn't go very well, but I just loved it. Anything where you could run and just get lost in like the kind of flow state. That was when I was in that flow state, I really felt like, everything's right, everything's cohesive, the world is in order, like all of my worries can go away. So I've sort of been chasing that feeling ever since a very young age. Yeah.
Good grief. I think you've pretty much summed up there what like a lot of athletes say when it's like, why do sport? That's just such a fantastic phrase. Very could resonate with that so well. So you're quite an outdoorsy person. A lot of the sports that you just mentioned, it is very much outdoors in the elements.
Yeah.
So what made you focus more just on the hockey side? Was it that integration that your dad introducing you to the sport from a young age, or was there anything in particular that made you think, no, hockey's going to be the one that I'm going to go with?
Well, it's sort of that sport, it seemed to have everything. It had the aggression, the competition, the physical aspect, and the skill and the tactics. Like all of that culminated together into something like I loved. And this might sound a bit cheesy, but the way I see hockey, it's like an orchestra, and you want to produce a beautiful symphony, and you've all got to work together as a team to make the beautiful sound. And I like that aspect of it. I've got weaknesses, and my teammates, that might be their strength. And I love that we could work together to produce something good. And when I played hockey, this again sounds a bit abstract, but you reach this like higher state almost, like you just feel like you're flying. Like when I'm playing, I don't know how to describe it. It's something I've not found since being injured, and I haven't found in any other sport aside from sprinting, is that pure feeling of flying and the world is completely quiet around you, and just everything about the sport, it gave that to me, and I was able to use my speed. I didn't matter that I might not be the most skillful player, but I was very quick and didn't give up, and it rewarded that. And I think my mindset is very much, a very competitive person. So hockey for me was perfect in all of it. I just love the game. I really miss it.
Wow. Yeah. Gosh, it's amazing to hear you talk about sport and your feelings around it. I don't think I've ever heard someone speak so highly of something they love to do. And don't get me wrong, I love swimming, and Hannah's, the exact same. And I'm sure we both can resonate with what you're talking about right now. But no one really talks about it, amazingly. So that's so cool to hear. My first question is, what was your position in hockey?
I was an attacker, so I was sort of the striker, if you like. But I actually began playing as a defender because I was I wasn't confident in my own abilities. That's something I'm sure a lot of athletes can resonate with. That I didn't have much in the way of self-belief. So I thought, well, I'll hide at the back at the beginning because I thought I don't want to mess up for the team. And then, I gained confidence, and with time I moved up the pitch and I was a midfielder for a while. But playing as a forward, it really worked to my strength, and my speed and fitness has always been something I've had above other people. I might not have had the incredibly silky skills, but I was just so quick, I could get out of situations. So as a forward, as an attacker, being fast is really, really beneficial. And in hockey, your positions are quite fluid, so you're able to also then play in the back as well if the game proceeds that way. And I liked that freedom of it as well. You got more freedom as a forward than as a defender, and I like just mucking about all over the pitch.
So basically, you're the Ronaldo of hockey. I get it.
No. I wouldn't say I'm that.
I would. So there you go. I'm saying it. I would love to know what a typical week at the height of your hockey career looks like in terms of training.
Well, as a swimmer, I was nowhere near the amount you guys will have done, but within the world of team sports, it's quite a sort of, if you're in the high level, this is what a normal week might look like. So it's about 27 hours of on-field and off-pitch training. So I would play 2 or 3 hockey games a week, so a uni game on a Wednesday and 2 league games on the weekend. This is in the normal season, not the international season. And then you would train 3 times a week in the morning in the gym. So, Olympic lifts, strength and conditioning, the whole lot. I actually trained with Hannah. I'd always see her working so hard in the gym. Such an inspiration. So I did that. And I also, as I mentioned before, was a sprinter. And I chose to do that on top of it all because I felt it benefited my game. And I also just loved it. I loved sprinting and intervals and working hard on the track. So that was twice a week. And then you had actual on-pitch training 4 times a week. So I would have it in the morning on a Friday. I had it on a Tuesday and Thursday and also Monday. So sorry, I'm all over the shop trying to remember which teams I played for. But yeah, so it was quite a lot hours wise. So, I would be training on a Tuesday. As soon as I finished my lectures at 6, it would be 6 till 10 on the pitch, and then back home. And no matter the weather, you're out there. And within hockey, I don't know how it is in swimming. You can't really have time off. And if you are ill, you have to reach a threshold of being ill enough for the coach to say, yeah, you don't have to come and play. So I was playing with chest infections, I played with broken bones, played with pulled muscles. Like if you have time out, you're just not picked. So there was no culture, at least within when I was playing. I hope it's changed now. If you're injured, you're out really. And if you're ill, you're out. So you just had to keep pushing through. So up in Aberdeen, that was pretty hard when the weather was Baltic, so you always get colds and ill, but you still got to show up. So yeah, it was quite a lot.
That's an awful lot, actually, when you put it into perspective like that. I don't think a lot of people really appreciate the dedication and the commitment that as an athlete you have to take on. As an athlete who's part of an individualized sport, I guess swimming, is it individual, is it team? A little bit of both, but for you, you're in that full commitment of that team element. Is there any, because you talked a lot about what you were doing training wise, is there anything specific that you do like socially to keep that cohesion with the team? Or because you mentioned as well that you were in multiple teams, like how do you manage with this team that you're with, that sort of cohesion? Is there like social events that you do? Do you train together? You know, what builds a strong team?
So it's quite different if you look at uni compared to clubs. So uni, they're very much more of a drinking culture. And as someone that's always been an athlete, I've never really been one that likes to drink. So that actually didn't help with team cohesion because I didn't want to drink and they all wanted to drink. So there was a bit of a mismatch there. But within the club I was playing for up there, we had fun team events like team meals, and you didn't have to drink. There was no pressure within that. And within the international setup, it was really good fun. We would have like team days, or we'd do silly activities like a team building thing, like, you know, Tough Mudders, that kind of, you would do fun events like that, or you'd go for brunch. You know, it's very different depending on what level you play at and with who, or with whom, excuse my English. But yeah, so it is very different. But yeah, you all train together. You don't really ever have individual sessions as a hockey player unless you take yourself to go and do extra training, which I did. Because before I went to sleep every night, I would imagine all the mistakes I made on the pitch and then visualize how they would look if I was to do them correctly. So I never really switched off. And in terms of social outside of team sports and all that, I didn't have a social life because I was doing 30 hours of uni a week as well. So I didn't have time to really be a student in the way that students might normally be. But again, that was my choice in a way, because I was pursuing Team GB and playing for Scotland and all of that. So yeah, you definitely miss out on elements of life, as you guys will know, but you certainly gain a lot of skills and knowledge about the world, and you grow up a lot quicker. You know, I was staying away from home from the age of like 11 on hockey camps by yourself in hotel rooms. Like you grow up quite quickly. But yeah, it definitely evolves throughout the years, and whichever team you play for, how you work together as a team and what you guys do as team building.
I can definitely relate to loads that you're saying. It's amazing really to listen to you speak, because especially like the not drinking thing and the dedicating, and you know, people would say, I sacrifice this. It never really felt like that to me, because I wanted to do that.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to drink and I didn't want to do those things. So I never really felt like I missed out on too much, which was a good thing. But at the same time, you know, it is a lot. And then the social positive life balance kind of does go off.
Falls by the wayside. Yeah. I mean, I didn't even watch TV. You know, I thought I was so stupid. I thought that anything that wasn't on the line of being a performance athlete was bad. And at least within hockey, when I was playing, and I hope God it's changed now, there was no mental health support and no talk of mental health. You were an athlete and that is you as an identity. So when I became injured, I didn't know who I was. I have no idea, and didn't know how to be a normal, in quotation marks, a normal human. I still don't know what people do, you know, what normal people do that aren't elite athletes. You know, it baffles me.
Yeah, no, but you do get into that mindset, and understandably so. You know, it's your life. It becomes your life. So it's it's interesting to listen to you chat about that. Now, before we go into the injury, because obviously that is a huge part of who you are now and what's happened within your career, I would just love for you to tell us a bit about what you did in hockey, like some of where you got to.
Yeah, no, of course. So from the age of 10, I was playing on the women's first team at my local club, which was so exciting, like one of the youngest players to have done that. So from that young age, I was like, wow, I must be doing something right. And what I was doing was working really, really hard off the pitch and eating really well from a young age. Everything was about the game, and that paid off. And so I started progressing through the ranks. So within hockey, I'm not quite sure how it works in swimming, but you have county level, then regional level, then national age groups, which is like a pool of all the best players in the entire country. And then from that, they pick a reserve squad and a full England squad. So I originally was playing for England, and I was lucky enough and had worked hard enough to progress through those ranks, and that was despite breaking fingers, breaking bones, and had to carry on playing. During the trials for England, I split my thumb open, like someone just smacked my hand, and like basically my entire thumb just split down the side. And I was wearing a glove, and I was thinking, please, please, please don't let the umpire see this. Don't let the umpire see this. Because if you have a blood injury, you have to go off. So I was basically, luckily I was wearing a red shirt. I was just wiping blood on my shirt, like, please don't see this. And carried on playing, like, adrenaline masked the pain and keep going. And from that, luckily I got selected for England, and I was renowned for my speed, able to outrun most blokes on the pitch and most women. And that was something that, I don't know, thinking about now, I can hear my feet pounding the floor, I can hear my heartbeat, I can feel the adrenaline rushing through my veins and my muscles twitching, like that feeling you get when you do something you do well. That's what I found in particular aspects of hockey, what was the sprinting and weaving my way through people and finding those paths, and I loved it, every moment of it. So I went on to I played some amazing teams. I played Holland, Germany, Belgium, and Spain. We even went over to Antwerp to play over there, which was really cool, as my first proper tour in a way, as wearing the lions on my shirt, which I'm still so proud to say that I managed to represent England. So I did the junior years, under 16. We had something called the Five Nations, where you play other fantastic teams, and it was a really, really good experience, and I loved it. And I love my teammates, and some of my teammates actually went on to play at Tokyo in the Olympics, which is just incredible. Slightly heartbreaking, because that's what I would have liked to be as well, but also incredibly proud of them, and they're still in touch with me now and see how I'm doing. But yeah, so I went through England ranks, and then when I got to sixth form at school, I was a slightly double-edged sword, unfortunately/fortunately, picked as head girl of my school, which was a very, very demanding role, and I had to take a step back from hockey so I could actually get into university, do my grades, get the stepping stones you have to get, which is a real shame, to have a foothold in life. So I couldn't pursue my passion. I had to actually get the building blocks. And as head girl, with loads of speeches and all sorts you have to do. So I had to step back then. Then I had a year out of between uni and school, and actually played some national league, so premiership level hockey for Oxford Hawks, which was a really lovely experience. Fantastic team there as well. And then I went on to uni in Scotland, and my mum's Scottish, so I'm half Scottish, but didn't get uni for free, sadly. But very lucky to have that heritage, so I could then pursue playing for Scotland. So I swapped the rose for the thistle, which my dad was a little bit unhappy about. Yeah, I can see you putting the thumb down there. So I played Scottish unis, and I was in the trial process for playing for Scotland and hopefully going on to play at the Europeans. But alas, 2019 injury happened in February, and that scuppered my plans, which is a real shame, because I thought hockey was going to be with me for the rest of my life. You know, I thought I'd be one of those mums that could still play a game incredibly well, you know, an adult that has that ability. And and it's a way to make friends. I don't know how it is within swimming, but for me, I thought I've always got hockey to fall back on. I've always got that social circle of both blokes and women. You know, the game is such an inclusive sport, and anyone, any sexuality, any like any race, anything, we're all in that game. And that's definitely something hard to have lost, and to have lost the opportunity which I was hoping to go for, which was to play for GB. And I would have really enjoyed that, but that's not the way fate rolled the dice. So
the way that you articulate like everything is just so like, I just hang on every single word that you say. It's amazing. You know, and your career as well in hockey is absolutely outstanding. And I think, you know, going into the injury part, I think is why it's so impactful, because any athlete, you know, as you said, you're the type of person that would literally just push through it. So for this injury to be the point that, you know, it wasn't something that you could push through, and it was very much life-changing, you know, it goes to show the extent and level of it. So, you know, could you take us through the moment that happened?
Of course. So classic sod's law. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that on a podcast, but it was literally the last hockey game I had before my Scotland trials. So I thought, right, go on, just go through the motions, just you know conform to my own training regime in my head. Like, I want to practice this skill, I want to try this, because luckily at uni hockey the standard wasn't as high as I would face at sort of Scotland trial. So it's a great time to try out new things and new skills. So that was what I was planning on. We were playing Glasgow Uni, who are a really good team, so I was looking forward to that. Just I put on my shin pads, put my gum shield in, picked up my stick, and I was sprinting on in the second half. Had a really good first half, and I went straight across the pitch diagonally, got the ball off someone, and I was sprinting away, and they couldn't catch me, so they tried to swing their stick in. And they didn't get the ball, but they actually tapped my left foot inwards when it was at the top of a stride. So imagine you're doing high knees and your leg is up. My foot was tapped inwards, and my next stride I landed with the base of my leg bone, so my entire ankle inverted, and pushed off at a completely inverted angle at full pelt, and then just collapsed on the floor. And I couldn't fathom the pain. Like, it was like this electric shock that just fired up my leg, like every sinew of bone, and like just every single fiber of my body was just on high alert all of a sudden, and just in agony. And normally, you know, I get hit all the time. I've broken bones, I've broken my nose, played on. Like, normally it's fine. Like, you can just, it's just the nature of the game. And in a way, it's almost like a badge of honor. You're like, right, carry on. Like, I don't know. It's bizarre that is the way, at least it was in hockey. I hope it's not like that nowadays. But so when I fell down and realized I couldn't get back up, I thought, like, shit, like what do I do? I've never been in this position before. And I remember seeing my gum shield on the floor, and my gum shield is the one I played England in. So it has my number, the England flag and a GB flag. And I don't know, just seeing it on the floor of the Astro, it's that image resonates so much with me. It was like, you know, is that it? And I didn't want to believe that. So I buried that thought as soon as it arose. And I thought, right, I just need help to get off the pitch, and then I'll rest my foot and I'll be fine for next week. And I had to be carried off. I couldn't even walk. My entire foot was honestly 3 times the size it used to be. My entire, from my shin down, was just swollen and pulsating with pain. And I got off the pitch, had to be carried back to my flat. I couldn't walk. I lived up 3 flights of stairs. So I'm, being the kind of person that normally sucks up the pain, I thought I'll be fine. Like I can do it. Don't worry. I don't want other people to see me in pain. I don't want people to see I'm injured. I don't want to show that, because then that's admitting to yourself that you're actually suffering. And if you start doing that, at least I thought, if you give in to the pain, you will not have a chance at pursuing your dreams of continuing GB hockey. And it's obviously not that black and white, but when you're in a state of panic, that's what your brain, you've got 2 options: give in or keep going. And I chose to keep going. And I was sat in my bed that night and thought, I cannot sleep. I'm in so much pain. So I took paracetamol and, waited, and still nothing. I took ibuprofen, nothing happened. Still in so much pain. So I ended up having to phone a taxi to drive me to A&E. And I was waiting for 6 hours in A&E, middle of the night. Didn't know what was going on, why I was in so much pain. Just tried to smile my way through it, and just like, it's all gonna be fine. I saw a nurse there. They did an x-ray. There was no break, so they said, you're fine, you can go home. There's no painkillers, no crutches, nothing. And I think part of me was like, oh, great, there's nothing wrong with me, I'm gonna be fine. And the other part of me was like, but why am I in so much pain? Like, I'm used to pain, but this is beyond the realm of bearable pain. And long story short, 5 weeks I was in the same level of pain. I couldn't wear a shoe on my left foot. I had to chop my shoes in half to put them on. And I had to walk to uni every day, 1.5 miles there and back. And I would take so long on the crossing that the crossing would stop beeping and the lights would go green for the cars, and I would still only be halfway across. And as someone that's used to being high velocity all the time and marching to uni at a rapid pace, never late for anything, I was turning up to lectures midway through the lecture because I couldn't get to uni. And I would literally be dragging my foot behind me. The only stuff holding my ankle to my leg bone was my skin and muscle. And yeah, I tried to go and see my GP. They said, if you've been to A&E, we don't need to see you. A&E wouldn't see me again because they'd already seen me. So I phoned my dad, and he's an orthopedic vet. So I'm incredibly lucky that he's got that knowledge. Had I not spoken to my dad, and I was trying to not admit to other people I was struggling as much as I was, I wanted my parents to think I was doing really well up in Aberdeen, because 10 hours away from home, don't want to worry them. And I thought, right, 5 weeks, I'm still in so much pain. Like, I really need your help, Dad. Like, I sent him pictures of my ankle. The bruising was still staggeringly bad. And he said, right, you need to see a specialist. And I managed to contact a specialist. They saw my ankle and they said, this is the worst ankle injury that I've seen outside of a car accident in 25 years of practicing as an ankle specialist. And it's at that point I thought, oh God, like my dreams are basically over. And before that, I'd turned up to the trials and just stood on the sideline because I wanted them to know I was still keen and I was going to be fine. I told them I would be fine, even though I knew I wasn't going to be fine. I just told them I would be and I'd be able to play. And I had to break the news to them after I saw the surgeon that that's not going to be the case. I have to have reconstructive surgery, emergency reconstructive surgery. So a couple of weeks after that, I had the emergency reconstructive surgery. All throughout this time, I wasn't able to sleep. I wasn't eating much. I was incredibly sad. I couldn't do social things because I was in so much pain. My grades started going down and was at university on an academic and sporting scholarship. So I'd been getting awards for my subjects, and that all started fading away. So I really felt I had lost complete control of my life. I had the reconstructive surgery, and as I came round, I was in absolute agony, which the doctors were completely surprised about because they had given me ample pain medication and a nerve block. So there shouldn't have been the pain signals being sent, and they were being sent. So I was kept in for another day. And then this hospital said, you can go home. And on the way from Aberdeen to Edinburgh, I stopped being able to breathe properly. My face went completely white, my lips went blue, and my mum was driving and she was terrified. We had gone past Dundee. We couldn't go to the hospital there. We had to keep driving forwards to go to A&E in Edinburgh. And I really thought I was going to die. And I think my mum thought the same. And we got to A&E and I was held in A&E for 10 days. They didn't know what was wrong with me. None of the pain meds they gave me would help. I was being given something called Oromorph, which is oral morphine. That wouldn't help. Nothing was helping the pain. I lost 10 kilograms. I was down to 1 paracetamol. I was that light. And there was nothing wrong with the surgery, that they hadn't done anything wrong. All that had happened, we found out later, is my body was in an incredibly high state of alert, basically fight or flight 24/7. And my foot was, say it's laying on a bed, it would be, you'd feel pressure of the bed, and my foot, the nerves there would send that signal up to my brain, but my brain would not register that as pressure. It would only register that as pain. So every single stimuli that was going into my foot was registered as pain. Air passing over my leg was pain. Water on my leg was pain. People being nearer than 2 meters to my leg, that elicited pain. Vibrations when people walked past, that was pain. Anyone passing their hand over my leg, that caused pain. Fear caused pain. Every signal was causing pain. It was like my body was running the incorrect software, but I had the correct hardware. My ankle is more structurally sound than probably anyone's ankle. I've got 6 pins in it and 2 bungee cords in it. It's held together, it's not going anywhere. So, from a medical standpoint, there wasn't anything wrong. And they said, right, it might calm down, maybe this pain reaction will calm down, so we'll discharge you. I went home. I had a month of going through the motions of trying to recover. I went to have my first physio session after a month, and the surgeon had said that I needed the site of the injury to be massaged. And as soon as they put their hands on my ankle, I threw up straight away on the table and passed out. I couldn't hear, I couldn't see. My body was basically shutting down. And that's when we were like, right, we need to see a pain specialist. This is totally wrong. This should not happen. For someone as fit, as healthy as I am, and with the right mindset, I should be getting better. I was told I should be back on my feet playing hockey within 3 months. And I was holding on to that. I didn't want to tell people how sore I was until it got to the point I couldn't bear it. So I saw a pain specialist. They took one look at me and they said, yeah, I'm really sorry. You've got complex regional pain syndrome. CRPS is an incredibly rare condition. Very, very few people each year are diagnosed with it. It's essentially a maladaptive response of the nervous system. So, as I mentioned before, any signal that is relayed to my brain from the left side of my body is interpreted as extreme agonizing pain. It basically replays the operation again and again. And there's this scale of pain, I think it's called the Mercalli scale of pain. and it rates CRPS as the same as having an amputation without anaesthetic. And being told that you have CRPS, obviously then as someone that's like, right, I now know then what the problem is, I'm going to go on a mission and find out how to solve it. So I read basically every science paper I could find about it, and every science paper was concluding this condition is incurable. You can only go into remission. And I thought, okay, it's incurable, but I can go into remission. So let's go. And I just went ham with it. I was just like, right, I'm going to do everything they tell me. I'm going to do all my physio. I'm going to do all of this, and this. But sadly, with something like CRPS, it's not how much effort you put in doesn't equal how much you get out. You don't get a return on your investment, essentially. It's not a linear recovery process. You will be trying to do your physiotherapy. And if you do even one tiny atom too much, your body will make you pay. So I get this hangover of pain from everything I do. And I'm in pain 24/7, 365 days of the year. Like I still am, like right now when we're chatting, like my leg is sending fire, burning pain signals up, which I can't escape from. So essentially I basically had 3 years of uncertainty, fear, and a huge loss of my old lifestyle. I'd never had free time in my life before. When you're sat there literally like looking around, like the meme of John Travolta in Pulp Fiction when he's looking around, that's literally me. Like I'm sat at home like, what do normal people even do? And I didn't know anything about mental health until my injury, and it's really made me rethink what is life really about. I thought life was about being the best you can be at what you're good at. And for me, that was hockey. And I thought, I lost that. I've lost all purpose in my life. But I've realized Frankie is a lot more than just an athlete. And that's definitely been something my injury has given me. It's taken innumerable important things from me, but I think I've gained an awful lot from it. And I've been given a chance, which not everyone might have, to sort of start again. And I did achieve all those things in hockey, and I'm so proud, and I don't regret doing it when any of those things. But I'm glad I now have the chance to enjoy other things as well, because I had put myself into the bracket of, right, you have to be a GB hockey player. And that was because I loved it. But I also thought I couldn't try other things. I didn't think I could. This sounds so silly, and please tell me if you thought the same way, but I thought I couldn't go to the cinema on the weekend to enjoy watching a film, because that would be 2 hours I could have been training. It's ridiculous like that. And I thought I need all my mental capacity must be focused on the game and my training, and it's not the way life is. So sort of now got a chance to start again and realize none of us, even if you are in the midst of achieving fantastic things in your sport, you still have a choice. And if you decide you want to do something else after that, or midway through doing those achievements, you can. Like if you want to start learning how to knit, you can learn how to knit. You don't have to just focus all your energies on one thing, I just think that's definitely a lesson I've learned. I am more than just my sport, and my sport doesn't make me who I am. It's just a string I have to my bow. So yeah.
Wow. I mean,
Hannah, what?
Thank you so much for just being so open and honest with everything, and like taking us through like every part of that journey. Because I know, it can't have been easy to be able to, reflect back onto it, because I guess for part of your healing process, the athlete within you, you want to forget, you want to keep moving forward, but actually, being able to talk about it, and some of your visuals, as I said before, you're so articulate in how you describe things and actually you view things. It's such a mature observation that you've got, and you know, your mentality at the minute, the fact that you're using it as a way to help you move forward and for you to be a better version of you, you know, it is so key. And it's so relatable to a lot of athletes in sport, because you feel, you know, when something happens, that's it, it's the end. And it doesn't have to be, you know, the world is your oyster, in a sense that your book is not finished. You know, it's nothing that you've got. And this chapter that you're on, you'll move on to another chapter. And, you know, and the fact that you're so proud and you still celebrate, you know, what you've had before is really, really important. It's not completely shut off.
You are incredible, Frankie.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Absolutely incredible. There's so many people that just couldn't do it. They just couldn't do it. And, you know, you've done it and you're doing it. And not only that, it's like the way you talk about it. And I'm really hoping that you are in some sort of way supporting athletes or just people in general, because you can inspire and will inspire so many people. And it's people like you that we need. You know, we need you, Frankie.
We need you.
Yeah. Now, at the end of what you were just talking about then, you said what you'd learned from the experience. Is there anything that you've learned that, if athletes are listening now, other than obviously your sport doesn't define you and there's lots more to you, you know, it's just something you do. And that's definitely something we have pushed on this podcast. But is there anything else that you've learned that about yourself that you've been like, oh, wow, you know, I'm proud of myself for that, or I didn't know that about myself? Is there anything that sticks out?
Well, it's just given me a chance to sort of pursue other avenues as well. Like, I love writing, and I've been able to spend time, you know, enjoying doing journaling and things like that, which I thought completely incorrectly before were for people that were, this sounds awful, like weaker, just because that was the mindset that I think I was surrounded by. Like, you just had to keep pushing through your problems, don't ruminate on them, just keep going forwards. But actually, I've realized writing down and speaking about what you're going through is actually really, really helpful. I have Instagram, and it used to be private, and I made it public because I thought maybe there's people out there that are feeling the same way as I am, or struggling in a similar sense, or anything. And I'm really, really honest on that. I say if I'm having a good day, and I say if I'm having a bad day, because I think people need to see the good, the bad, and the ugly about sport and about recovery as well. Because often you just see a snapshot of someone before and a snapshot of them after, but never during. And I think because I'm in a unique experience that I was an elite athlete, I've had a catastrophic injury that's put me in a wheelchair, I now get to experience two worlds, and I'm straddling the both of them, because my condition precludes me from competing in the Paralympics, and my injury precludes me from competing in the Olympics. So I belong in limbo, essentially. I'm disabled, you know, I've got a blue badge, all of that, and I've only got one working leg, so I should be allowed to do the Paralympics, but sadly that's not the way the classification system works. So I've definitely learned that when I first realized that, I thought, I literally have nothing left in my life, like I am empty, I can't be an athlete, what am I going to do? And I have learned that there's a lot more to me than that. And I'm also not my injury, I'm not my condition, and I'm not just an athlete, I'm everything in between. You know, I get to spend time with my family a bit more, like get to see my brothers, which is lovely. I get to see friends, I get to go to the gym and just enjoy the gym and enjoy exercise for the sake of it. And and I still can turn my hand to being an athlete. Like, I'm doing a marathon in 2 weeks, first ever marathon, and that's pretty exciting. It's something I never got the chance to do before my injury, so it's pretty cool to get to go for something that, in the position I am now, that I didn't have the chance to do when I was at the peak of my athleticism. So yeah, I think no matter what people are going through, whether it's a physical financial or mental or anything, any difficulty, you don't realize how resilient and how amazing you are until you have to go through something like that. Any adversity that you face, like, we all find a way through it. You know, that is human nature. And I'm still finding my way through it. I'm not the finished product. I never will be. None of us ever will be. But yeah, there's a lot to life. And for anyone that is struggling with any of the above things, you can live your life, you can enjoy your life even whilst you're suffering, which I know that sounds bizarre, but it's true. I thought I had to put my life on hold until I was better, but I don't. You know, I can live with this difficult condition. I'm living with mental health problems from this condition, you know, PTSD from the accident, depression and anxiety from the pain. And every day gets a little better. Some days it might be more difficult, but I know that because I've had a good day before, I'm going to have a good day again. And I think everyone can take something from that and realize, you know, I can do it. You know, it doesn't matter if you think your problems are smaller than mine or whatever. It doesn't matter. Don't compare your problems. You're fighting the battle that you're fighting, and your days will get better, and you can fight the battle and still have a good life whilst you're fighting the battle, if that makes sense. Because I didn't know that until I started achieving things as someone in this much pain and on a wheelchair. Like, I'm really lucky to be the first disabled athlete sponsored by Salomon Running. So that's pretty exciting. And the same with Pure Sport, which is a sports club in London. I go and train with them every Wednesday, and I'm welcome with open arms, and I'm living my life despite it all. And yeah, we all can do it. I know we can. And yeah, basically believe that you can get through things, and you will.
Could sum it up by saying, be more Frankie. just be more Frankie. Yeah. The question I was actually going to ask you was, you know, where's Frankie just now? Like, I mean, I know you described like a little bit, but, you know, what's things like for you at this moment in time?
So I've had to take a step back from university. So I was meant to be graduating last year. I'm doing geology, and sadly, because of the way my condition progresses and how it's affected by stress, exhaustion, etc., I had to move back home, all the way back down to London. Sadly, all my mates are in Scotland from uni, so I left a lot of people behind, and I'm still in touch with them all, which is lovely. But yeah, so I'm currently having this time off of uni and just focusing on getting myself better, but also enjoying living my life down here in London. So doing my training, I go to the gym, my local gym, the Marlow Club. They've been absolutely amazing and fantastic in helping me. And I do my physiotherapy. No one's able to touch my leg due to the pain. I still can't wear a shoe on my left foot due to the pain. So my physio is much more about the mind-body connection. So about visualizing where your limb is in space, and imagining what a normal feeling is. So comparing your right leg to your left leg, and etc. So it's very, very different kind of physio. And that can be incredibly frustrating, because as an athlete, you think the more effort you put in, the more you get out, and that's not the way it works. I have to be patient. So I'm learning to be patient. And yeah, I'm doing a lot of Instagram stuff, being a bit of an influencer, it seems. Hopefully influencing people the correct way, if there is such a thing. But yeah, so that's where I am, I guess, just now, just bumbling along, finding what I enjoy, relearning life on wheels, and just going for challenges I want to go for, like the marathon. I've signed up to a triathlon, which is hilarious. I've only got in the water for the first time in January, but I absolutely loved it. I can't use my left leg yet in the water. It's in like two big fluffy socks, and it doesn't move, but my arms move. And it was so cool going in the water because I felt equal to other people. Like I was overtaking people that like using their legs, and that was pretty cool because I felt like, wow, like I'm on a bit of a level playing field here, so you feel very, very free in the water. So yeah, I'm getting the chance to actually explore new avenues rather than continue on what I thought was the correct avenue before, which was just sport, for the purpose of representing my country. But now I get to do it for the purpose of enjoyment and just exploring new things. And meet new people. Like I'm loving meeting new people and making new friends and things like that. Yeah. So just on the journey to on the road to recovery, and also actually looking after my mental health and looking after myself first before looking after everyone else. Because before I thought, if I don't turn up to training, I'm letting down the entire team, I'm letting down my coach. I have to turn up, even if I don't feel like I want to be there. Whereas now I'm like, right, if I'm not feeling up to training, I'm not going to go to training. I'm just going to take it easy, look after myself. And I don't know if you've heard of the spoon theory. We have all of us have a certain number of spoons a day, and a spoon is a packet of energy. And you have to think, how will I wisely spend my spoons today? Now, a packet of energy could be worrying about how you're going to spend your spoons today. So you've got to not put any pressure on yourself and just think, what do I actually want to do today? What must I do today? And what might I do today? And portion it accordingly. So, for example, I must get up today. I must have a shower today. For me, that's spending spoons. Showering is exhausting with chronic pain. So that's a spoon spent. Our interview today, that's a spoon spent, but that's a spoon for a really positive thing. I'm happy to spend that spoon. And I'd also like to go to the gym today, so that's another spoon. And then it's thinking, right, if I spend too many spoons today, I'm taking spoons away from tomorrow. So you just got to really think of it more like that. And that's been quite nice, really looking after myself for the first time ever really in my life. I've had to look after myself and be a little bit more selfish, which is a very difficult thing to do. I think most athletes are pretty selfless people, and are people that want to please their coach or please the people around them, sometimes before pleasing yourself. At least that's my experience. So I'm sure everyone's had a different one. So it's been very nice. I'm my own coach now. I'm the only one I've got to please, and I've only got one life, and I want to live it, and I want to enjoy every moment of it, and I don't want to waste it. We're not long on this earth, are we? So it's about spending my spoons wisely, finding things I enjoy. And for me, I love new experiences and meeting new people. Like, this is a lovely experience chatting to you guys.
No, it's wonderful to have you on. And like I said before, everybody can learn something from this story, lots from your story, and we'll continue to. And what's great is you have things to look forward to. You know, you've got your marathon, triathlon, swimming. Thank you for saying about swimming. Me and Hannah are proud when anyone mentions swimming. And it's a great sport because it does include everyone. You know, anybody can get in and swim. And in terms of using your legs, I always used to get in trouble from my coach that I never used my legs.
That's a good thing to hear.
You don't need them, Frankie. Honestly, sort the arms out, you'll be fine. But no, it's wonderful to hear you speak so positively and have the things to look forward to and learn from everything you say. So just before we wrap up, where can we find you? Where can we find information? Where can we follow you? Where can anybody listening just be a little part of your story?
Oh, well, thank you for anyone that is interested in being a part of it. I'm on Instagram. It's @_Frankie_Butler. And I, post about my training there, but I talk about, what is CRPS. And I'm trying to change the way people view CRPS. So CRPS was historically known as the suicide disease, as it's not many people can handle being in that much pain for that long. And I really wanted to shift the idea of CRPS and say, it's awful, but we can live our lives while suffering in that much pain. And I think that applies for a lot of things. And whether living your life begins, as it did for me, with 5 minutes outside, that's how it all began. And then it's just building that up little by little and being patient with yourself. So I share messages like that on my Instagram, pictures of my dog. I do a lot of trail events outside. So you'll probably see videos of me flying down hills at stupid speeds, and just living my life and trying to change the perception of people that are in wheelchairs and people that suffer from chronic pain and chronic illnesses. We're not lost causes, and it'd be great to have to meet more people on there, and because I love chatting to people. I get lots of lovely DMs and it's great connecting. So
Frankie, I can't. There's no words to thank you enough for coming on and sharing your story today. It's a real honour to have you on, and you are amazing. And I hope that you continue to share your story. And always, like I say, we need you. So please be there for us. You're fantastic. So thank you for coming on. Good luck with the marathon.
Thank you.
We'll be following the journey.
Oh, I'm a bit nervous.
I'm sure I would be as well. But I know you'll be amazing because you've got this. We evidence today of you've got this. But we'll be following, and we wish you all the luck with everything you do.
Oh, thank you so much. And I'm looking forward to listening to your future podcasts and the more amazing people you get on. So it feels a real honour to be part of this small part of your podcast journey. So thank you.
Oh, no, thank you very much. And thank you to everyone listening. We're sure you've taken so much from today's episode. It's been truly amazing. And we will see you next week for another episode.